Good, it's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Today is Monday, March 24th. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys for being here. Alabama headed to the Sweet 16 after defeating St. Mary's last night by a score of 80-66. I'm going to walk you all through it. We're going to talk about this Alabama basketball team as they head from Cleveland now to Newark, New Jersey to take on the BYU Cougars. Let me know where you're watching from inside the comment box. I appreciate you guys so much for being here today on the show. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to start out talking about the Alabama basketball team. On the back end of the show, I'm going to talk about the quarterback battle, and I'm going to tell you who would be the starter if they played Florida State this Saturday. I'm going to give you first string, second string, third string. We're also going to roll through some footage that the Alabama Crimson Tide released via its social media account on Saturday. They had a practice on Saturday. Alabama football is off today. They'll continue practice on March 25th. We got Jeff coming in from Pell City. What's up, man? Appreciate it. What's up, North Alabama Storm Chase? I see you inside the comment box. Max Tooney, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Thanks for being here with us. Ms. Careless, what's up? Good morning to you. I appreciate you. Michael Taylor, what's up in the house? Saying roll, tide, roll. Chris from New Jersey, man, what's up? Appreciate you being here. Antoine, what's going on, man? My main man, Antoine's been here for a long time. Fan Funder. Bama Boy, what's up, man? Army 3275, get better. There's no pain like teeth pain. Tooth pain. All right. Okay. Yo, what's this Alabama basketball team? We knew that they had the makings to be at this point in time. Them making the Sweet 16 is not a surprise because of this man that is pictured on the screen right here, right? Nate Oates is the best basketball coach that Alabama's had. I'm relatively new, 9 years covering the basketball team, but you can point to different parts within the history of Alabama basketball. Nate Oates is it, and he's done it in such a short time. The standard of Alabama basketball has been raised through the roof, and it's been great because here covering Alabama, mostly football for me, the standard is competing for championships. And so it's been a nice transition after Avery Johnson to watch Nate Oates take Alabama basketball to where it is today. The standards are, look, it is Final Four. That's kind of the baseline, which is amazing to think about. I think Coach Oates even said anything less than a Final Four would be a disappointment. Look, this is what he's done in a short time. It's amazing to sit back and to watch. I love it. I love how he handles himself. The players love playing for him. And Sweet 16, I'm not surprised at all. I don't think anybody is. Let me ask you just from a jumping point, is anybody surprised inside the comment box that this team is headed to the Sweet 16? Yes or no? I think towards the back end of the season when Alabama, I don't know, would they go 5-5 at the end of SEC play, there might have been some questions or concerns if this team was starting to trend the opposite way. I never really felt like that. I felt as though they were exhausted. I did feel that something was off, right? I felt like this team, like something wasn't clicking. And maybe it was just they were just exhausted. Who knows? Because the way that they have played in rounds 1 and round 2, now I'm feeling good about this team. And I'm going to talk about the big 4, the big 5, that if they put it together, this looks realistic. Now, one game at a time, and the next matchup will be ultra challenging. BYU will present a lot of challenges for Alabama. But how we're going to do the show today, we'll look at rounds 1, we'll look at rounds 2, things that stood out, players that stood out, and then we'll navigate towards the back end and talk Alabama football. And I'll talk about the quarterback race. I heard some really good things from some inside sources close to the program. You're not going to want to miss that, okay? And we're also going to go over some footage that the University of Alabama released. I did put out a video yesterday that kind of high points some of it, but we'll slow it down, chop it up, and we'll go over that. All right, so Alabama basketball last night comes away with a victory. You know, credit to St. Mary's. I think St. Mary's was a really good team. They were really big inside. Their outside shots didn't fall at all, but that was a quality team. I don't think that anybody had even scored 80 points on them last night. Like to slow it down. Alabama was really good in transition. They were able to get some really big buckets inside, kind of those lobs. And my goodness, where is Cliff Amore? And I talked about this last night briefly following the game. Yo, he is playing his best basketball of the season. So Alabama defeats St. Mary's, but let's rewind. And here's a snapshot. If they're able to get past BYU, they take on the winner of Arizona and Duke up top. But I'll go full screen real quick, and let's go rewind to the opening matchup against Robert Morris, right? So you have Alabama 90, Robert Morris 81. This was a very pesky type team. Really good team, okay? And I circled a couple things that I want to talk about. So you look at the starters, and Cliff Amore, he was 8 of 8 in just 21 minutes, 17 points, right? Sears, in 33 minutes, he was 5 of 12 from the field. He had 22 points, which was a team high, was 11 for 13 from the free throw line, which is pretty common. I mean, he's averaging around there. But I look to a player on the bottom, Mo Diabate, and the way that he's played in rounds 1 and rounds 2 has been absolutely noteworthy, probably more so. 8 of 10 from the field. He has 18 points, which is second on the team, in 21 minutes, right? He's been a guy that can get off the bench and just be absolutely stellar for the Crimson Tide. Now, we did see Grant Nelson come in against Robert Morris with 8:40 in the game. In fact, Robert Morris was able to take a slight lead, 65-64, and then things kind of settled in the Alabama Crimson Tide were able to move away. Okay, so that's round 1. Round 1 is it doesn't matter if you're a 2 seed, a 15 seed, it doesn't matter. I mean, you're going to catch a strong team regardless of who you play in the NCAA tournament. Now, when we looked at last night's game, there's a couple of particulars, a lot of particulars that I want to go over. So the number one thing is the play of Grant Nelson. So Grant Nelson, he's in the starting lineup, right? Now healthy. He gets 28 minutes. He's up at the top. And I think the thing with Grant Nelson, before I go over these numbers, is he adds something else to this team. He's a hell of a rebounder. I think he's improved tremendously. And you kind of look to Alabama's, the main guys, the starters. I mean, Grant Nelson, graduate. Amoria, he's a graduate. Youngblood, he's a graduate. Sears is a graduate. That's 4 graduates, right? And Philon, he's a freshman. But Nelson just adds something else, and I'm really glad that he came back. And the thing about Nelson is we haven't even seen him go kind of tournament mode yet. And I'm hoping that he does that in this next round against BYU or wherever Alabama goes, because they're certainly going to need him. But in 28 minutes, I thought he looked really good. In fact, he had 8 rebounds and 12 points. I think Alabama had 6 guys in double figures last night. Cliff Amore, I probably should have circled him as well. I guess I could have circled a lot of guys. 5 of 7. So you look at, he was 8 of 8 and then 5 of 7, and then he has 10 points. He also had 11 rebounds. So you have another double-double for Cliff Amore, right? And I think when you look to Amore, and I'll talk about him more in just a bit, but Alabama needed high-level play from not only Grant Nelson, but Cliff Amore if they really want to make a run at this thing. Let's face it. He's got to continue to play at that level and maybe turn it up just a little bit more on the defensive side if they really, really want to make a run. Which I think is, he's absolutely on fire, right? And as I said, even before they played these 2 games, if you get high-level play from Chris Youngblood, who was 3 of 3 against St. Mary's, who has 13 points, which was a team high, this team is going to be tough to deal with, right? Sears got in foul trouble early. He only had 26 minutes, but you go down to the bench. Look at the bench play for the Crimson Tide. Once again, we spotlight Mo Diabate, 4 of 5, 10 points total, right? Very accurate. Doesn't take bad shots, only 15 minutes to pull in 10 points. Absolutely noteworthy. Also had 5 rebounds. But how about the play of Aiden Holloway? Holloway comes in. Look, I don't know if enough people are talking about him this morning, right? Look at this. In 22 minutes, He was 4 of 6 from the field, 1 of 1 from outside, 3 of 4 from the charity stripe, and he finishes with 12 points, and he even had 3 assists. So, I mean, that's impressive right there to be able to go to the bench. And that's what I think separates Alabama basketball is the fact that they do have such quality depth, right? And, you know, there's obviously other teams now that you get into the field of 16 that have quality depth, but this has been something that Alabama has relied on, and it's good to see guys off the bench certainly stepping up. We got 100 up in the house. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube, talking some Alabama basketball as the Crimson Tide now headed to the Sweet 16 to take on the BYU Cougars. I appreciate you guys very much for being here. And if you want to support the channel, you can hit the thumbs up. Other ways to support, you can hit the super chat inside the comment box. There's the Venmo up on the screen and the Cash App. But you guys just being here is enough, and I appreciate you guys. Thank you for supporting me as an independent content creator right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Every show scripted from the heart. I bring up kind of the tournament play of these 5 individuals, and I'll go full screen once again. So let's actually start from the right and work our way to the left, right? Herman, I see you inside the comment box. Nicole, what's up? I appreciate you. North Alabama Storm Chase, thanks for being here. Carrick, man, what's up? I see you inside the comment box as well. Tate Tack, man, what's up? Roll Tide to you. All right, so you start with Mo Diabate, and I went through the stats this morning. I put everything together. So you have off the bench 8 of 10 with 18 points in round 1 against Robert Morris, and then follows up with 4 of 5, 10 points in round 2. Solid play, and I think he's been getting everybody's attention. It's nice to think that he's only a sophomore, right? Thumbs up if you think that Mo Diabate is playing absolutely stellar at this point in time. Lisa Luck, what's going on? I see you inside the comment box as well. But how about the play of Mo Diabate? Isn't it nice that Alabama can go to the bench and get such high-level play from him or Holloway or whoever they're going to the bench for? I mean, this team is absolutely deep, but Mo Diabate is absolutely doing something else. He's playing at really high level. Think about this. He already has 28 points in 2 games. Man, so you talk about super sophomores and how these guys are playing at this point in time. I mean, man, I've been, and you know this, if you followed my show, and I know we've all been fans. What's up, Roll Tide? I appreciate you being here inside the comment box. If you've been a member of my show and you've been watching for a long time, we have always hyped up Mo Diabate. There's not a lot of bad things to say about him and just high-level play. So I love that. He's got to continue to come off the bench and be that spur when they need him to be, right? Really good play. Both sides of the offense and defense, all right? Let's talk about Grant Nelson. We're moving right to left. So Grant Nelson, now that he's healthy, and I don't know if he's 100% healthy or whatever the case is, but he looked pretty good last night. And they didn't need him to take over the game, but he did enough. And, St. Mary's was a very big team. I think they had a guy who was 7-1, maybe 2 guys that were, above 7-1. And they banged. That was a good basketball team. Nothing fell for them outside. But Grant Nelson had a nasty dunk. He's had 2 really nasty dunks. Now, we're about to talk about the dunk master next, which is Cliff Amori. But Grant Nelson just adds something else. Help me out with the adjective inside. Like, what does Grant Nelson add to this team? It's a lot, clearly. But he's like a spur, I don't know. And the thing about Grant Nelson is he has big-time playability. You kind of rewind the games last year during this time, during March Madness, or games even in the past where it's been high-profile games. Grant Nelson can turn it up and play amongst the best in college basketball, 100%. Against White Boy Swag, utility player inside. Max says the team is better when he's in the game. David Powell, I think we all watched the game last night, man. If you weren't able to, definitely try to catch these guys on Thursday as they take on BYU. Tenacity. Yeah, there's just something about his game that kind of is at added level. And then look on the screen when I go full screen right here. Mark Sears, graduate. Chris Youngblood, graduate. Cliff Amori, graduate. Grant Nelson graduate. I'd be curious to find out. I'm sure, there's someone that has already put this together, but how many teams have this amount of experience? You're talking about a tremendous, maybe it's just the stash. Yeah, stash style, right? Maybe that's what he has, stash style. But that's a lot of experience in the room, right? And these aren't the starters. These are just, 5 guys that I'm highlighting at this point in time. So Grant Nelson will, whether it's this game against against BYU, or if they're able to pair up with Arizona or Duke down the road, you will get that high-level play because he just has big game mentality. All right, let's talk about Cliff Morey here in the middle. I feel like he has played his best basketball of the season in these first 2 games. Am I off on that? Like, I think he's done his thing, but my goodness, he has been an absolute problem. I think that first game he suffered some sort of a little injury early on, but that didn't bother him because he was 8 of 8 for 17 points, which is third on the team behind Sears and Diabate. But he was 8 of 8 from the field, and damn, he's been looking overly impressive inside the paint. I mean, these lob ups to him, he's posterized probably 5 or 6 guys. Josh Miller points out that Auburn's team is like everyone's 30 years old. North Alabama says Pringles chip because of the stash. Antoine talking about Cliff saying starting to be the best in the paint regardless of the team. And that's what we needed from Cliff Morey was, kind of that dominant play inside. He's been posterizing fools, and it has looked phenomenal. I think he's up to 12 dunks? Think about that, 12 dunks so far. So it was 8 of 8 for 17 in round 1, and then against St. Mary's, a really big team as well. And he's 5 of 12 for 10 points in round 2. My man Fromm's calling for all fans to lock in. Check out Alabama basketball on the women's side. Take on Maryland today. Definitely watch and support them. I appreciate you bringing that to everyone's attention, Fromm. Appreciate it, bro. Jarvis, what's up, man? Good to see you inside the comment box. So I think Cliff Morey is probably as hot as anybody in the country right now. Power play inside, a lot of monster jams. That lob game that, they've been feeding him the ball inside, he's just been slamming it home. It has been tremendous to watch. David Powell says, what draft pick do you think Sears will be in the NBA? I don't know, man. I have no idea. That's a really good question. Is there someone else inside the comment box that might have seen some draft scenarios with Sears? What's up, Amber Ashley? She says, let's go, ladies. J-Bake is switching gears a little bit, talking about DK Metcalf's comments on Ryan Grubb. So I'm going to finish out talking about this, and I'll talk football on the back end of my show. But let's come back to this. J-Bake, bring this up later on in the show. Long story short, DK Metcalf, wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Last year, his offensive coordinator was Ryan Grubb. They didn't see eye to eye. DK Metcalf didn't like his play calling. Called him on the phone one time and was like, give me the ball. There's a lot to it. If you want to watch the full thing, it's on the Marshawn Lynch podcast. I listened to it. It was worth listening to. All right, let's continue. So I feel that with Chris Youngblood, okay, I put a little up and down icon. If he stays hot, Bama is going to go as far as they can in the tournament because Chris Youngblood adds another high-level scorer, and he's just absolutely when he's hot, he is like blazing hot, okay? But he's been a little bit streaky. He was 1 of 6 in round 1, right? Especially from the three-point line. I think in that game he was 2 of 7. But against St. Mary's, he was hot, right? Yeah, he led the team with 13 points. Did you know this? When Chris Youngblood scores over 10 points Alabama basketball is 10-1 on the season. That's a phenomenal stat. There was a TV broadcast that brought that up, right? So when he scores more than 10, Alabama 10-1. That's a marquee stat. And he was on 13 points last night. A lot of that was in the first half, but it can swing the momentum. Jarvis following up on Mark Sears in terms of the NBA, and he says, shows that Sears is projected to be a late second round pick as of March 22nd. Appreciate that, Jarvis. Chad follows up. Fromm, could you get on this? What time is the women's basketball game? We'll have Fromm add that. And then with Mark Sears, he still hasn't had like his game, and he's clearly the engine of this team. In round one, he has 22 points, 10 assists. It's kind of like, the baseline for him. He only had 12 points in 26 minutes to play because he got in foul trouble early on, right? Alabama's women's basketball team plays at 4 p.m. on ESPN against Maryland. Appreciate that, Jarvis. Not Central Time. But let's line all this up real quick, okay? Because if Sears is on and he has his game and Grant Nelson's on, this team is absolutely dangerous. When everything collides, Chris Young, let's just say Sears has his game, Chris Youngblood comes in, he's on fire, Amori's doing his thing in the paint, Grant Nelson has his big game mentality, Mo Diabate off the bench. It seems like a reality that this team could really make a real run at this thing. Holloway's been playing well off the bench. I mean, you see what I'm saying? And I think the recipe is as simple as that. Mark Sears is going to continue his steady play, but he hasn't had like his big game yet. But I think that's it. But BYU is going to present a lot of challenges, clearly. I go full screen once again. And you see kind of the last 5 teams that they played. Alabama on the right in this box right here. And BYU on the left. They beat number 3 Wisconsin by a score of 91-89. That was last night. They also beat VCU in the first round, 80-71. Lost to Houston by a large margin. That's 20 points. Beat Iowa State by 4 is a really good team, and beat Utah by 11. Crimson Tide in the last 5, right? Beat Auburn, who's the number 1 seed. Beat Kentucky, Kentucky's playing some pretty good basketball right now in the tournament. They've definitely turned it up. Lost to Florida. Got beat down by Florida, I should say, who many have winning the whole thing, right? So you kind of look at, once again, that high level of play. And BYU's played, some really good teams, but Alabama basketball on the right, like those teams that they played on the back end, just look at Florida, Kentucky, and Auburn, all those teams still alive, right? And we look to how this game is matching up. The matchup predictor by ESPN, we've seen these, be absolutely wrong, but 64% by ESPN Analytics, Alabama opens at least by 4.5 favorite. Because the over-under is set at 175. Antoine says, just look at the mock draft and BYU has a first-round guy. While Auburn's Johnny Brome is at 31. Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida is second round. Philon is second round. Sears isn't listed. Interesting. I appreciate that. Nate Oates has a soundbite after the game talking about BYU. He said this to the TNT broadcast. Kevin Young has done an unbelievable job. That's their head basketball coach is Kevin Young. They play it NBA style. They space the floor. We're going to have to really guard. They're good. I watched them a little bit because I was interested to see what he did in college. But I got to get locked in and watch a lot more. And that was Nate Oates talking about BYU. This will be a hell of a matchup and a great opportunity for the continued brand of Alabama basketball. Can't wait to see it. It's Thursday. Thursday at 6 p.m. on CBS. Thursday, CBS. Here's how Vegas has the national championship winner, the odds for who's going to win. Up top, you have Duke at plus 230. You have Florida at plus 375. You have Auburn at plus 450. Houston at plus 450. Tennessee at plus 1,600. Same thing with Alabama. And then Texas Tech at the bottom, plus 1,800. Alabama and BYU play the winner of Arizona and Duke. Appreciate you guys being here this morning once again. All right, Alabama football released some footage. This is courtesy of the University of Alabama. Kind of rewind it to when it starts. So they had a practice this Saturday. As we continue to inch closer to whatever type of spring game this will be, I'm going to slow it down and talk about some of these highlights, what stood out from this practice, okay? And it's honestly just a practice. Like, I don't know if they scrimmaged. I'm sure they might have had some game situations, but we can only report on what we saw. Now, I do talk to people in the know, so I'll give you that in just a little bit, specifically about the quarterback position today. But I'll point out some things as we slow down and chop up the film, okay? So if you see, like, on the back end of this, you're going to see Jeremy Bernard catch what looks to be a touchdown against Xavier Brown. And I saw inside the comments, because I have another video talking about this same thing, and people started, flaming on Xavier Brown. No, it was like, stop. Like, the biggest thing that you have to remember about this footage is these guys is iron sharpening iron. Right? So when you see Dejoun Lee going up against Ryan Williams, he makes a play here in just a second too. People are like, oh, Ryan's in his sophomore slump. No, he's not. It was one play. You imagine how many times these guys battle? We saw one play. So with that being said, number 11 right here is Rico Scott. Rico Scott's been a player that we're really excited about. In this particular play, you're going to see this is Drake Kirkpatrick, right? And I've heard that he's working at that Husky position. The Husky position is basically the third corner spot, right? And just like Carlos said, DeBoer said that the next scrimmage will be on Thursday, or the first scrimmage will be on Thursday. That's what he said. But right here in the air, that is Lazier Brooks, okay? And you see Drake Kirkpatrick making a play on it. Love it. Love to see it. You imagine having to deal with Lazier Brooks? Okay. This particular play right here is what everybody's talking about. So whoever threw this ball was not Ty Simpson, because Ty Simpson is over here, okay? You can see him. You can see that looks like so this is Dejoun Lee and this is Ryan Williams, all right? You see that Dejoun Lee makes a play on the ball, right? Other things that stand out, you could see Keon Sabb. Looks like he's healthy over here. That's one thing that stood out to me. But Dejoun Lee at 6'4" is going against one of the best wide receivers in college football. I think you have Jeremiah Smith and you have Ryan Williams, number 1, number 2, or number 1A or number 1B, whatever it is. GLX, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. But this is like, these are two future NFL players. Iron sharpening iron. And you see Jamarcus Shepard, the wide receiver coach, even giving Dejoun Lee a little pat on the helmet. right? Now, right here, number 1, catching the ball. This is Isaiah Horton. So Isaiah Horton, we need to rewind that real quick. Isaiah Horton, as I'm predicting it, just based off my own, from what I've seen, from what I've read, same thing you guys have seen, I have him as a starting wide receiver here. I would be absolutely shocked if he's not a starter with Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams at the slot. Alabama has so much talent at the wide receiver position, as we've spoken about, and this will be one of the guys that contributes at a very high level, right? Covering all regions. We'll take a pause right here. Hey, Kyle, you see that Jordan Edmonds, the 6'3", 5-star corner from Georgia, is predicted to Bama. We are going for taller, athletic corners now. Yeah, I love that. I think that, I'm excited about kind of the length. I've always wanted at least 1 or 2 corners that have a little bit more range, right? So yeah, excited to see it. And I think if for those of you that followed recruiting with the microscope, I'd be patient because it looks like things are kind of getting set up for Alabama to have a monster summer once again. That might just be how Coach Kalen DeBoer operates, and Courtney Morgan is to kind of, bring guys in during the springtime. It hasn't really deviated that much, but they had a really huge June and July. Remember the cold summer? It's not the cold summer right now at this point in time. And Carlos says that's Bach. Who are you talking about, Carlos? Because number 1 right here, this is Isaiah Horton. Point it out to me, Carlos, and we'll go over it, man. Yeah, and for those of you talking about Jalen Mbakwe, I will figure that they put a plan in place to try to get him involved, right, in some capacity. I don't know what that's going to look like right now. I think they're probably still trying to figure it out. People have questioned why he moved to wide receiver. A guy like Bach he's so dynamic as a player. It might just take a little bit of time to figure out, how to get him on the field. So, it's something that I do think about because he's so tight with Ryan Williams, and they have, their podcast together, and they've kind of been branded together. So that might be a little bit difficult to navigate from their friendship or, business-wise. But I think talent-wise, there's nothing wrong with Mbakwe. It's just these wide receivers are ready to eat right now. And would it have made more sense for him to stay in the secondary? I don't know. Hindsight's always 20/20. He could still theoretically go back to the secondary if he wanted to. I don't know. I'm watching it just like you are. All right. What do we have here? So it looks like, we're just slowing down footage. There wasn't a lot of footage, so we're doing what we can. Right here, it looks like number 0. That's AK Deer. And when we look to the running back room, it's like, how are they going to keep all these running backs fed, right? This is a good play right here. You have Cam Howard, who made the play right here, and this is number 21, Drake Kirkpatrick, and then number 26, that's Luke Metz. You could see AK Deer down over here to the left. Cam Howard was one of those guys I kind of forgot about. Number 3, this is Jalen Mbakwe. So you're talking about Jalen Mbakwe. There he is right there. Okay, this was the clip that everybody was like, dogging on Zabian Brown, number 2. Does it look like a touchdown? Yeah, for sure it does. It looks like, Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy Bernard's going to do this to a lot of different corners. Zabian Brown matching up with Jeremy Bernard or Isaiah Horton or whoever at practice is going to get that much better because I truly feel that this is one of the better wide receiver trios in the country. This probably happens frequently, right? We saw just one clip. So I wouldn't throw Zabian Brown under the bus and be like, yo, he's going to get burnt all year. The guy started as a freshman. Was he cooked? Yeah, all the freshmen were cooked at least one time or two. But I'm not worried about Zabian Brown. Now, I'm starting to feel that because of the high-level play of Dejoun Lee. Now, is Dejoun Lee, I think it might be hard to keep him off the field. You also have Damani Jackson. Now, he's out right now with the undisclosed injury. But just think about the depth. It's a long season. There's nothing wrong with having a 5-star step off the, reserve and contribute. All right, so I know you guys want to talk about the quarterback room. And again, that footage is courtesy of the University of Alabama, so please follow them on social media. They have, all the footage, and check out Yay Alabama if you're interested in it. Or Athletes Thread. Those are ways to support the players or the university or whatever. But you guys rocking with me. I'm not affiliated with the university. I'm not affiliated with anybody else. Just right here on YouTube. So this next segment is about the quarterback competition and the latest information that I have following Saturday's practice. There's a lot of people out there that are going to have information. This is the information that I was passed along, okay? And the way that the source phrased it to me is if Florida State had a game this Saturday. The first thing that I will say is that there is a very deep competition at quarterback. You already know that. That is not earth-shattering. Austin Mack looks absolutely fantastic. The last 2 practices, Austin Mack has been phenomenal, to be honest. This is his 3rd year within this type of system. Keelan Russell is much better than we even anticipated. I would have thought he might need much more time to get acclimated, and that's not the case. He's right there. And if you look at a horse race, this is very, very tight. Now, if they were to play this Saturday, it would be Ty Simpson, according to the source that I spoke to. That's not earth-shattering. I'm sure your jaw's not dropping. I think that's actually really good news. You want the guy who has the most experience at this point in time, who's waited, who's operated the playbook, at least Coach Kalen DeBoer is for 1 season, to have a crack at it. I've never really thought that just because he didn't play much last season, I never thought that he wasn't capable to be the guy. I just thought there was a lot going on with the quarterback and the head football coach last year. I never translated that to Ty is not good enough to play here. And I think the coaches would have communicated that to Ty. So if they played Florida State this weekend, Ty would be your starter. And I think Ty will be the starter against Florida State when they actually play, later on this year. Now, Coach Kalen DeBoer clearly has options for a solid number 2 quarterback. Now, it's going to be between these guys. Austin Mack is having a really good spring. They practiced under, 6 times. So take that with a grain of salt. And Keelan Russell, he is the prototypical quarterback that Ryan Grubb wants, that Coach Kalen DeBoer wants. He has it all. He has every single thing that you want your quarterback to have. But the quarterback competition is very tight. It's very competitive. And the quarterback position, from my understanding, we're not going to know the starter even after this Frankenstein spring game. There will be no starter named. And I think we'll continue to have these guys battle. Coach Kalen DeBoer will. going into August camp. Can you imagine that quarterback competition by that point in time? I mean, did you see? Think about this. The spring break footage that we saw, Keelan Russell. He looked bigger. It was like everything that we want a quarterback to be, he's got it. And then Austin Mack, I mean, who doesn't want a 6'6", 230-pound quarterback? That's like the guy that you dream about on these silly video games. Let me ask you a question inside the comment box. Do you feel that Alabama is in a better situation at quarterback at this point in time right now compared to last year? I think they are. I think it's a clean slate. I think Ryan Grubb, even though he said he's going to work with the entire offense, he specifically told us that he's going to focus most of his time with the quarterbacks. You have Nick Sheridan, and I know a lot of people don't like his offensive play calling, but at least he can be back there and be kind of a second eyes for Ryan Grubb. And you have Coach Kalen DeBoer, who I think is more of an offensive-minded coach. So for the first time since really 2020, I think that the quarterback room is really going to be taken care of. And not a lot of people have been talking about Ty Simpson because I feel for the past 9 years covering Alabama football, it's never necessarily the starter that gets a lot of the preseason hype here. It's always the backup. And specifically at Alabama, you always have a 5-star quarterback coming in that people can't wait to see on the field. I'm like Keelan Russell, my goodness. Like what he did in the high school football field was so tremendous. It was phenomenal. But we've seen this part before. And even though we've seen it before, we're still talking about the other guys behind. But I think that Ty Simpson right now is the front runner. And don't get mad about that. That's not like throwing shade at Austin Mack or Keelan Russell. That's where we're at this point in time on March 24th. They have a scrimmage this Thursday. That could change things. And I don't think that Ty is in the spot to be the front runner because like he stuck around or like loyalty. Like I think that he's capable, the most capable right now to win games. I will also say too that I feel that if he can't get the job done, that Coach Kalen DeBoer won't do what he did last season and just keep his quarterback in that isn't performing to the highest level. The second year for Coach Kalen DeBoer is what we're all watching. And I think Marshall says it right inside the comment box. May the best quarterback win. Let me ask you a question real quick before we open up the comment box. Do you feel that Ty Simpson, let me phrase it like this. Do you think that whichever quarterback starts, we're just going to see one quarterback, or do you think we'll see multiple quarterbacks this year kind of vying for the spot? It kind of feels to me right now that we might see the quarterback battle go into the season. Couple games in. I definitely don't want to see them swapping out quarterbacks and playing like two quarterbacks. That's just not it. That's never been it. It's got to be like one guy has to win the job. So that's quarterback for today. And you have Thursday, you have a scrimmage. Things will probably change. Maybe we'll hear a little bit more on Ty Simpson because, to be honest, it seems like there hasn't been a lot of people really talking about Ty at this point in time. And that's just because I think people are so excited about Keelan getting here and, Austin Mack's progression. But I haven't heard anything negative about Ty. I just want to, see how these quarterbacks continue to do on Thursday. I'll open up the back end for some questions. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop it inside the comment box. I just wanted to get through that segment. I saw one up here from Kenneth. Let me go up to see what Kenneth had to say. So if you have a comment or a question or something that's on your mind, post it inside the comment box and I'll highlight on the screen. I'm trying to find Kenneth. Kenneth said something that looked interesting. Hang tight, Kenneth. Let me see if I can find it. All right, Kenneth from the comment box says this. Hey, Kyle, I just don't know why in the world would Alabama sites would take down touchdown Alabama site. That's where I got a lot of information for several years. I have no idea anything about this. I don't even know. Did they get taken down or something like that? I highly doubt it. They've been covering, Alabama football for forever. I don't know about that, man. I know the people over there. They've always treated me good. I've had good relationships with them. So I don't know. That'd be news to me. Robert inside the comment box says, "Who do you think would be running back number 2?" 100%. Richard Young. I think Richard Young will be right behind Jam Miller. The bigger question for me that I posted on is the running back number 3 and how kind of like Draylon Washington will fit into the system. Same thing with Daniel Hill. It's like I saw someone on the other on my Facebook channel. They were like, "Man, these running backs are small." I was like, "Really? Which ones?" Army 3275 says, "Kyle, what's happening with special teams, kicker and punter?" Hey, this is an area that I need. I'm not sure. I think from what Coach Kalen DeBoer recently said in his last interview, he said that he hasn't seen Connor Talty, who would presumably be the next kicker, that he hasn't seen him make a bad kick. I thought that was promising, but I feel that the special teams, not kick returner, punt returner, that'll be easy. But like he also said, replacing James Burnham is going to be really difficult. Hell yeah. My biggest concerns might have moved to the special teams rather than right tackle. I might be more worried about kicker and punter than I am like the offensive line, just because this schedule. You imagine having some new guys like step in to replace Graham Nicholson, Will Riker, and James Burnham. I don't know. And this is a hell of a schedule. All right, what else we got? Max Tooney saying Talty speaks English. Lance says Kendrick Law had no kick return skills or moves. He was fast. He returned that one like 52 yards last year, and then he fumbled. Remember that? And I think same thing happened with Emmanuel Henderson. Man, I liked Emmanuel Henderson. I mean, I still do. I was just kind of rooting for him. He seemed like he was going to be a really good player here. GLX is saying, where do I think Milroe would go? The only place that I've seen, I mean, everybody would answer this inside the comment box if I asked everybody. Where Jalen Milroe will go? The Steelers. It seems like the Steelers are really excited about giving him an opportunity. I don't know if that'd be a first round or wherever, but I guess so. What do they have? Justin Fields? Because Russell Wilson, I think, got let go. Who knows? That's like, and not only where he will go, but the biggest question is like, what will happen with Jalen Milroe in the NFL? And when he just ran his 4.3, like, I wasn't surprised. We already knew he's fast. But things did work out well for him at the pro day, which I was happy about because that guy has been under a lot of scrutiny. Oh my goodness. Elliot, what's up, man? Do you think Drake Kirkpatrick will see more playing time this year? Yeah, it looks like it. I think we should watch him at that Husky position. So I think the Husky position, it sounds like Cam Calhoun might be the guy for that spot. But I think they're also giving guys opportunities for next in line at Husky. And I think Drake Kirkpatrick is fitting in there. So I watch for Drake Kirkpatrick to get on the field. I know he got on the field maybe a couple times last time. Like, I don't even know how many snap counts he had. I don't think there was very many. But yeah, I think we'll see a little bit more from him this year, which would be dope. He's completely different from his pops, right? His pops is a little bit more rangy, but I think Drake Kirkpatrick brings a little bit. He's more physical, I would say. North Alabama Storm Chase says, does Bray Hubbard lead the team in INTs this season? Hey, in North Alabama Storm Chase, I did get your email, so thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Does he lead the team in interceptions this year? I don't know. The team had a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers last year, right? A lot of forced turnovers. I think, let me ask you, outside of LT Overton, let me ask you this. Two things. Who do you think will have most interceptions this year? A corner or a safety? Maybe Damani Jackson. If they challenge him, I could see Bray. I mean, he had, 2 interceptions last year? When did he return to the house? I don't know. That's a good question. And I was also going to ask you guys, who do you think will have most sacks, I guess, after LT Overton? GLX inside the comment box is saying, I like how Kalen lets different people return punts, but I don't want Ryan Williams to get hurt late in a blowout. Yeah, the only thing, I play Ryan Williams at punt returner in high-profile games, period. The game is tight. Ryan Williams has something about him. He just has it. Some people do, and he's one of them. Ryan Williams could do anything in the world. Seriously, that guy has an amazing personality. He's got the Hollywood, but he's more humble than he shows. And on the field, he's the best player. So I think that let me ask you this. Let's say Alabama and Georgia, they're tied, 21-21, third quarter. And, Georgia's punting. I want Ryan Williams back there. Now, I don't want Ryan Williams returning punts against, I don't know, some of the games where Alabama's a double-digit favorite or when the game's out of reach. But big game ability, I want my best player back there, period. Antoine chiming in, he says, Keon Sabin leading interceptions and give me Quay Rusaw in second in sacks. I like that. I was thinking about that too. Army has some breaking news for us. He says, breaking news, Auburn and Tennessee suck. Yo, they're still, those teams are still playing basketball. Good basketball teams. I think Auburn, Florida, Bama, even Kentucky, man. Kentucky and Tennessee, I think they can match up soon. Army also chimes in and says, your thoughts on DK said about Grubb. I think he's being a diva. Yeah, so thanks for bringing that back up. So if you guys want to watch this, go type in on YouTube, Marshawn Lynch podcast. And I think it was last week, and he had DK Metcalf. So DK Metcalf is talking about his relationship with Ryan Grubb and saying that him and Tyler Lockett, wide receivers, they were on a group chat with Ryan Grubb, probably Jackson Smith and Jigba as well, and Geno Smith. And they would basically break down corners that they were going to play each Sunday. What this guy did in press coverage, what he did on, down and distance, whatever it was. And that they never really got feedback from Ryan Grubb, and that he felt that Ryan Grubb there wasn't a lot of symmetry or connection with him. GLX, my first 30 minutes of the show were basketball. So if you didn't catch it on the beginning, just rewind it and you could watch it. I went over basketball pretty, some comprehensive coverage there. I appreciate it. I mean, we've just kind of morphed into a Q&A on the back end. But if you have a basketball question now, yeah, pipe it in as well. I mean, I'm all good with it as well. It's pretty much the last, segment right now is just kind of an open mic for you guys. But GLX, if you have questions, just hit me up. All good. Got to respond to this text real quick. But yeah, Alabama basketball in action against BYU on Thursday. But I mean, the podcast, you kind of have to dig through it. It's kind of like on the back end of the podcast. West Coastin is our West Coastin's been in Prague, Hong Kong. Are you back in the States now? He says Derek Meadows. Let's see if we can get that on the screen. He's talking about Derek Meadows. He says Derek Meadows is a pure wide receiver, never a tight end, super fast, upgrade over Odom, super shifty, gets out fast. Yeah, the thing about Derek Meadows, he's 6'6", but even listening to Courtney Morgan talk about him, is he said that he's got a little bit of shake to him. And you don't often see that from guys who are 6'6", but I saw that as well, and that kind of made my ears perk up. I liked Caleb Odom. I thought that Caleb Odom was – I would have much rather liked Caleb Odom to try out tight end than Derek Meadows. I think Derek Meadows is more built to be a wide receiver. I think Caleb Odom could have been a wide receiver. He could have been like a hybrid, one of those dangerous hybrid wide receiver tight ends that are dominating college football now. I think Caleb Odom could have been that. I think he's good. I think Caleb Odom will do really well at Ole Miss. I wish he would have stayed here. But, a lot of those wide receivers, they all left, and we didn't miss a beat. Think about it. Kobe Prentice left. I love Kobe. He left. Don't miss him. Kendrick Law left. Don't miss him. Emmanuel Henderson left. Don't miss him. Caleb Odom left. Don't miss him. Crazy. That's how talented the room is. At wide receiver. And sometimes those guys will have good seasons, but think about it like this. You can look this up. Ja'Cory Brooks left, a wide receiver. He left, and he had a really good year at Louisville. And, where is he? Once you leave here, that's it. You kind of, fall off. North Alabama Storm Chase talking about Deontay Lawson. Is that it? I think Deontay Lawson he'll be 100% for the fall. He's an inside linebacker. He's out right now with a knee injury, I think. Antoine talking about the baseball team. The baseball team, they now 22-3. They played number 1 Tennessee over the weekend. They lost that series 2-3. They won on Thursday and then lost Friday, Saturday. The baseball team is it. I mean, what they've been able to do this year already is noteworthy. I don't know where they're going to be in the next rankings. I think they were 12. Justin LeBron, I guess he's the best baseball player in the country, right? He still have 12 home runs. I'll have to look up his stats. He's got 12 home runs or 13 home runs and 45 RBIs. Absolutely just roping the ball. But Tennessee is, that's the number 1 team in the country. Greystone inside the com box talking about Mustard. Yeah, I think if you look to top freshmen, I think you have Keelan Russell, and then you probably go to Dejoun Lee in terms of top performing freshmen at this point in time, and then probably Lazier Brooks. If you really had to rank the players at this point in time, yeah, Dejoun Lee's right after Keelan. That just shows you the job that Coach Kalen DeBoer did with that recruiting class. And I love the fact that number one prospect from Texas, right? And then one of the top prospects from California. Lance points out that Amari Niblack is now third on Texas A&M. Yeah, he's been a portal surfer, right? He went from Alabama to Texas and now Texas A&M. Javion, what's up, man? Good morning to you. Alabama Renegade, what's up, man? Says this. Would it be completely stupid to put Meadows at kick returner or punt returner for the season when Ryan Williams ain't returning? I want him to have playing time. I don't like to put a taller player back returning kick or punts. Now, I'm not on the coaching staff. I think it makes sense to put a player that has speed and agility. Like, you know who makes a perfect kick returner would be Jalen Mbakwe or like a Lazier Brooks. Like someone that I think, now, I don't know if we have a Jalen Waddle type player on the team, but somebody like that. Jalen Mbakwe might fit that role perfect for kick returner, for punt returner. What if he comes in this year and he's just like the special teams weapon? Maybe that's it. I don't know. Greystones asks, if they don't play Keelan Russell, is there a chance he transfers? I don't think so. I think there's franchise players. They're not titled that, but I think there's franchise players in college football. And I think Ryan Williams is one of them. And I think Keelan Russell is another, right? So, no, I think the world is set up here at Alabama for Keelan Russell to be the guy. We just might have to be patient when it happens. Or, freshmen play here. Coach Kalen DeBoer will play freshmen. North Alabama Storm Chase brings up, you have Cole Adams. AK-47. Yeah, my daughter, she went to the basketball games. Yep, she went to Cleveland, and yeah, she had an amazing time. Yeah, she just got in today. Yeah, but she was checking out the games, courtside. She had a really good time. Antoine's like, stop worrying about Bama football and drop us an album. I'm not going to lie. I love me some J. Cole, too. All right, fam. Well, that's my Monday show. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. Remember, the women's basketball team, they play today at 4 p.m. Central Time against Maryland. Please support them. I cover all sports if I could. I'm just a one-man operating person. So, I do the graphics and talk football and talk basketball to the best of my abilities. If I had a staff, I would be, I would cover as many things as I could. Speaking of courtside, Sean says, why were there so many empty seats? Yeah, I think I saw that as well. I think just the location, right? I mean, the game being in Cleveland, maybe the game's not that sexy of matchups, even though they're going to be matchups like Robert Morris and St. Mary's, right? Like those teams probably don't have a large following either. Like they do within their prior region, but no one's going to Cleveland. I've never been to Cleveland. I've been a lot of places in the country, but I've never been to Cleveland. I would imagine that, as Bama advances, I don't know. I'll ask my daughter how many, Alabama fans attended, or what it looked like. I have no idea, to be honest. All right, fam. Well, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for watching my show today and supporting Bama football on YouTube. If you're a fan funder, you could also, this is other ways to support Bama football on YouTube. Buy me a coffee or whatever, Bama football on YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App. But thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, talking Alabama basketball in football and news as it happens. Kyle Anderson and Bama Football on YouTube. Have a blessed day. Stay where your feet are at, and I will catch you soon. Right.